this week's training session, which is a little bit more relaxed than we've done in previous weeks. It's all about a review, a bit of a refresher, as we're calling it, over the last 5 weeks. And the reason I really like to do this at this point of the process is because we've actually done the steps now. We've covered the main steps of your business. So, and for those of you new that have just joined part the way through, there's various steps, and we're going to review those steps so you'll understand, hopefully, and it'll give you a really good summary of where we are and what we're up to. But what I want to do is stop at this point and just recap before we go into things like business development, using CRMs and technology to help you, and all the other things we're going to keep doing beyond that in future months, not just through the training, the 8 episodes of training, but actually through the lifetime of your business and the development of your business as well. And we've got lots of exciting things coming up. This is the foundation work, and I think you all need to just kind of take this in as the foundation of your business, but don't think that the training stops at the end of that. It keeps going. And it gets even more and more interesting once you get through the foundation type stuff. We can then delve in to all the nitty gritty about, negotiating with hotels, negotiating with event organizers, which event organizers, into it, really dissect that down and even address in future webinars some of the issues that you find and you've had. As I said, we're going to be a little bit more informal this time. So if you have any questions whilst we're going through some of these slides, please put them in during the slide, and I'm going to try and address those questions actually while we're going this week, because there might be something on your mind that you need to know the answer of, or you're interested to know right then and there. So please do not be afraid to drop a note in that chat box that comes with this webinar technology, so we can address that, and it doesn't matter what type of question it is. It doesn't matter if we've covered it at all. It's better that you know, and quite often if you ask that question, it's likely another person wanted to ask it, but they never asked it because of whatever reason. Maybe they thought it was a silly question. Just ask the question is my point, I guess. Okay, let's go into it. We're going to go and do a summary, and then we're going to actually go online, and I'm going to do a few searches and show you a few things and look at a few of the events that we've been working on over the last 5, 6, 7 weeks, so that, all this starts to kind of mean something. All right, so let's get stuck in. Okay, so the disclaimer that we always use at the start, I'll briefly go through again, that look, these are all methods, and this is a system that we've learned over many, many years. We've proven it time and time again. It does work. It works on a small scale, works on a larger scale, but it works. But it requires you to learn it, and it requires you to do it to be successful at this business. And you can scale and you can do all sorts of things, but nothing happens without you driving it, being motivated, and pushing this, making the time, making the effort, especially within these first foundation stages, especially if you're new to the industry as well. You need to learn it. You need to learn the industry. You need to get your head around it so it becomes like anything that you've been doing for 10 years or 20 years. You need to get comfortable with it as much as possible. So nothing happens without your activity. The industry is there. We know that. The technology is there. We know that. Our techniques are, things that we've found that have worked for us over the years. It's not the only technique out there. You know, there are other things that you can bring in and learn and do, but the industry is huge, and there's a lot of people doing very well in this industry. There's no reason why you guys can't be doing that either. Once again, it's focus, dedication, perseverance, and belief in what you're doing. You know, the ultimate thing is you have to believe that your clients are better off with you than without you. So you're there to help them. Okay, and if they don't work with you, then they're not getting the service and the rates that they actually should be. I don't know if you saw that article that I forwarded recently, like last week, and it was an overview of the industry, the meetings industry, and this is really just around meetings and conferences. It doesn't necessarily go into the other things that we go into, but what they were saying in that article is that hotels, events that provide accommodation, 50% of the people that book hotels to attend that event use the organizer's hotels. 50%. It was actually, I think, about 49%, but let's just call it 50%. So half of the people that are going to book a hotel will use the organizer's what would the organizers set up as far as hotels, whether they've negotiated rates or they've set up booking.com to link to, or whatever they've done. And obviously we partner with those agents. 50%, half of them will use that. The other half will go off to booking.com or wherever they're going to go, or call the hotel directly, or all the other functions and things that people normally do, that you do, that I do, that we do. So, but the interesting stat with that is that 50% do. The other 50% has been proven now that by not going through the event organizer, they will pay more for their accommodation. And I think they're really, really interesting stats. And I've given you that link last week. If you don't have it, request it. That's an independent, by a very reputable company that releases news reports and press releases, I should say, about the industry. So it's been well researched, and it's sort of really interesting. And this is what you can take. This is the sort of stuff that you should be learning and reading and finding and investigating and researching and really coming up with, these real supporting documents when you go and speak to an event organizer. And it should reassure you about how important this is. What that article was also saying is that these hotels that the organizers get need more promotion. And the article was basically saying that they're not getting enough publicity for the hotels that they have. And this is why we do what we do, is that we are here to actually publicize that, not only to get the rates, but we want to make sure that every person attending that event is aware of the hotel option that we're able to get them, which most of the time is better value than what an individual would get if they were going through booking.com. So we have to get that message out. And that article really goes to say, look, some of these organizers are getting some hotels, but no one knows. No one's promoting it. No one's pushing it. Why? Because the event organizer, if they do it themselves, they're not interested in the hotels. They're interested in putting their event on. So, we come along interested to promote the hotels, and therefore we get good click-through rates and good booking rates. And quite often the organizers themselves book with us, and their attendees book with us, which is instant, 10 or 20 rooms or whatever that come through the organizer. That's normal. Plus, we can capture the other guests as well by promoting it and marketing it. And that's what you'll get better and better at as you go along and get more experience also. Okay, so use those resources. As a recap, let's have a look at this. As you know, the flow, we've gone on a bit about the flow over the past 5 weeks. And basically that flow starts with selecting the events. And this is the important thing for those newbies that have come in, it's not about going and getting the hotels first. If we were booking.com or we were Amazon, we'd get the product first, we'd put it on the site, and then we'd have to start marketing it and start advertising it. That's not what we do. You can do it if you use the public area of the website, which you've all got the opportunity to release a public website. You would go and get the product first, and then you would go and market it. But it's such a long-winded way around it when, you know, we've got so many events out there and they already have a market, they already have an audience. So let's get the audience first because it gives us more negotiating power with the hotels. So you select your events. And one of the things we've talked about is creating that niche and selecting an event and sticking to that niche and really building up a reputation in that niche. Why? Because, you know, you get good at it. Anything that you specialize in, you get good at it and you get a reputation for being in that niche as well. And I think that's really, really important. And then you get referred on to others and other events and find new opportunities in that niche. And then you have a reputation that if you then go and try and, you know, open more opportunities up for yourself, you've got a demonstrated history very quickly in that niche, which helps you grow quite quickly, rather than if you had a scattergun approach and ended up, you know, doing pharmaceutical events and doing sports tournaments for kids and doing something else. You're having to learn that sector every single time you go into a new sector. Fine, if you want to do it, you can do it, but it's far easier building up that speciality in that niche, understanding it, and then driving it forward. We've had some recent really interesting conversations with a couple of agents. I won't mention who you are, but it's really interesting. Well, I want to share that with the group as well, because, you know, when we've gone into a niche, people then find out, you know, things that matter to your business, like, is that niche going to generate the money that I want to generate out of that niche? And it's not just about bookings. It's actually also about the value of the hotel room that is attractive to that audience of that event. And this is why what we talked about originally was all about research, understanding something we'll come across in a minute, understanding our ecosystem, if you like, and we'll talk about that again soon. So the ecosystem is very much built around, you know, the 5 pillars: the events, the hotels, the guests, you as an agent, and us as Hotels TV supporting you. They're the 5 parts of our ecosystem. So when you understand the event side, it helps you then get the hotels. So if you understand that you have a market in sports tournaments, for example, then you need a cross-section of hotels, but they're not necessarily going to be the same hotels you would choose as if you were working with the pharmaceutical industry traveling overseas, which would probably just want 5-star hotels. One may be more people potentially, but a lower per night rate because they're not 5-star hotels, such as sports tournaments, traveling families and things like that. Whereas other events that you might choose to focus in your niche may be things like, you know, medical conferences, pharmaceutical conferences I use as examples in training, because generally they come with a very high spending customer. So you may not also do as many bookings as you would through a sports tournament, you know, that might have 3, 4, 5,000 competitors. You might only be doing an event with 800 people, but your earnings may be higher because you're booking 40 or 50 rooms at $250 a night rather than $60, $70, $80 a night. So everything, you know, everything works around that. And that's why the research is so important. Taking the time at the start of your business or the start of your week to really research is key, so that you know, you're not just getting into the first thing that crosses you. That's fine, but that's quite reactive rather than proactive. You want to design your own income in this business, then become proactive. Research, select your genre based on solid information, and it all starts with your event flow. So when you pick your events, think about what you want to do. Now, some events, you know, there's positives and negatives in everything. So if you want to be in high profile events, it's going to take you longer to break those doors down. If you go for less known events or maybe more amateur events, you can still do a lot of bookings, and they're easy to get to because most of the time there's no competition at all in parts of this market that we're actually in. There's the high profile events and there's the very small events, and we're in that middle tier of decent size events, and all the travel agents are going for these high profile events. You know, they're the number one kind of events that you see at major convention centers, or they're advertised on TV. I'll give you an example, you know, because we've had agents target them. Things like the Commonwealth Games. Well, things like the Commonwealth Games are so popular that they have to go through a tender process. It's not anything that we're interested in. You know, let them all fight over it, and there's usually airfares or flights, and it's a massive logistical thing. You know, it's not our bread and butter. Our bread and butter is dealing in that middle tier of events that we can contact the event organizer, and they can make pretty quick decisions to work with us, and then we can just get on with it. But if you want to work with event companies because you want to shortcut things, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, some people target event companies because they know if they get that event company, the organizers, then they're going to get 20 events or 30 events. But it might take you 6 or 12 months to break that door down and to work and go through the series of meetings and all these things that you go through at that corporate level when you're trying to break into that market. When you get it, it's great. But you've got to be patient and give yourself the time if that's the direction you choose for yourself. You've got to be realistic. You know, we tend to go, when you're first starting, we tend to go with events to give you some experience, and they tend to be more winnable events, but also ones that can generate a lot of bookings. Obviously, we don't know which ones generate the most at that particular time, but once again, with research, looking into that event, even looking at some historical information about the event can be really helpful to give you a clue as to whether that's really worth pursuing as opposed to other events. I'm generally of the opinion they're all worth pursuing because, you know, even if you get a little bit of business out of it, it's still good business. There's a trade-off against the time that you're going to spend doing that. But as you build up your skills, you will be spending 10% of the time that you will when you first start and go through the training process, because you'll know and recognize things really quickly, and you'll know how to deal with the events. You'll know how to deal with the hotels. You know, you'll know how to deal with all these things pretty succinctly, so that you're not spending the time that you do when you first start. So selecting the events is really important, but it's also important that you kind of draw it up as your niche and your foundation, your platform, to then grow on top of that. And be realistic about the time that some of these things are going to take for you to get into. But once you open those doors, they can be very good. There are a lot of what we call low-hanging fruit events, I suppose, that can actually develop into a lot of things. You know, and I know we've dealt with some events that we've gone in thinking there's 1 or 2 events, and it's turned into 5 or 6 events once the organizer really starts to trust and see what we can do and what we can provide for them. We'll cover a couple of those things tonight, or today, I should say, as well, depending on where you're tuning in from. So that's what we've covered so far, I guess, in events, is that there are lots of different types of events. Sometimes you'll start down a sector and you might want to shift and pivot. So if that's the case, then, absolutely fine. It's up to you. Sometimes it's a bit of a tweaking exercise to get into this sector that you want to get into. Sometimes some people are just happy with where this leads them. So they're more reactive than proactive. If they're part-time, then they're choosing events that, that they can work out of normal business hours. So it could be weddings or sports tournaments, because they can deal with the bride and groom or a parent that's running a team evenings and weekends, and it doesn't impact their 9-to-5 job. So everything's relative as to what time you can give it, or what direction you want to go in. So that's, I think that there's some of the more interesting points that I think have come out, and I've received some really interesting feedback from all the agents just on this, because some of the time a lot of agents didn't realize that their choices were so vast. They didn't realize the impact of their decision on a particular sector, and maybe what other choices they actually had to develop and design what type of business they want to create, what reputation they want, what income they want to generate. Everything's relative. There's money in all these sectors, because every single event, all the people you're going to be talking to are going to book a hotel, whether they book it with you or they book it with someone else. They are going to book a hotel. So they may as well book it with you, because you're connected to the event and you've got them great deals and great service and great recognition at the hotels. You've provided them some really good value. So why wouldn't they use you? And statistics say in these reports, as I've already said, that 50% will. So what we want is to start working also on the other 50%, but make sure the first 50% do make it. And we want to make sure that's well publicized, and we'll go through that in a minute. But in promoting the event, but we also want to make sure that we find ways that we can get to that other 50%, now that we know that 50% of those people don't go through the event organizer, yet they will end up paying more. And usually it's through education, it's through promotion, it's through educating that market that we do what we do. Now, what's a good way to educate your market? This is where you start to then expand. These are the future episodes of our webinar training, and don't necessarily look to me for all the answers. Go onto YouTube and see how people promote their products. This is a product just like any other product. They use webinars like this webinar that we're on at the moment. You might gather together a load of different event organizers to get in front of them. When you've got an event organizer, you might decide to put a webinar on to the people attending the event. Why not? If they're attending the event, they're excited about the event. You know what you like when you're going on holidays and planning, how excited you get. You want to look at everything. You want to watch every video. You want to go on YouTube. You want to, everything's downloaded on your phone. You've got an app for this and that. Whatever it is, you're excited about doing it. So why not put a webinar on? Or why not go onto social media and start doing some Facebook live stuff? Or why not go to the hotel and make a short video, even on your smartphone, and upload it and send it out to all these people to help more people become educated as to what you can do for them. And I think as you progress on, you're going to understand that this is not okay, let me put it another way. This is not a franchise like a Subway, which gives you this kind of channel. We give you a channel, don't worry about that. But can you add to that channel? Yes, you can. Can you do more things to promote that? Yes, you can. Is the technology and the market online to be able to do that quite easily and do it from home? Yes, it is. So these are things you can do to really help promote and work and build your business that is down to your proactiveness, not your reactiveness, or not just following the very basic patterns of what we suggest that you do. You know, there is a lot more that you can actually go into to build a flourishing business. And I say, what you do is you work on the markets you've already got. If you've already got an event that already has an audience, if they're not engaging, you don't go, stuff it, I'll move on and go, I'll get the next event. No, you find new ways to engage that market, because when you connect with that and you hit it, you've got an audience there. It's far easier to get business from people that you've already got than to have to go and recruit and find all new ones. You know, if you're not getting it, you've just got to find a way to get to them. As I said before at the start of this conversation, they are going to book a hotel. Whether they book with you or they book with someone else, they are going to book a hotel. They don't have a house or an apartment or family in every city in the world. So you just have to show them and demonstrate to them what we all know. You can do that. We know that you can get the better rates. You know you can negotiate with the hotels. They don't know that necessarily. So they're maybe seeing a quick. That's why we put nice big headlines on the top of our PBAs when we write them, because we want to capture them at that particular second that they're looking, because we look at things and then we disappear. If something doesn't grab us that second, we go. So if half of that market is actually doing that, then what are other ways that we can do to grab their attention at the time that we have it before they go? And maybe we start eating into that. But anyway, we'll go through that later on into another section. But that's kind of the event side of things. Okay. Selecting hotels. It's connected to the event. So it's understanding your event market. It's understanding the people that attend that. It's researching the event, delving into the back, talking to the event organizer. They'll give you an idea of what they can expect. And you could do this when you go and talk to the event organizers. Part of your pitch to the event organizers is, well, yeah, okay, we're Hotels TV. We've got a booking system. We'd love to work with your event. We can share some commission with you. All that's lovely, good stuff. But what about asking them some real questions and saying things like, hey, you know, who attends your event? Is it local people? Is it international people? Are they traveling to get there? And those that do stay, where do they stay? You know, you've run this event for 3 years. You must have an idea. Where do you stay? Which hotel? If we offered 5-star hotels, what percentage of your market do you think would actually stay in them? So what do you think we should do? 3-star, 4-star, mid-range, boutique hotels, backpackers, you know, hostels? What suits the market? So you can do a lot of research, and then you can make a decision at that point, okay, as to if that's the event and the sector that you want to push down, okay, because that's going to then dictate what you do. Now, I'm not saying turn around and refuse that business. Bring it into the network. If you don't want to deal with it, send it back into central support, and we could potentially allocate that to another agent, and still you could earn some money out of it and not have to do it, you know, if it doesn't fit your niche. But learn how you want to build your business. So selecting the events has a direct impact on selecting the hotels. That's another reason we do it in this order. So because we're very specific to specific dates that we get rates, and we're events that only happen 2-3 days. So we want hotels rates a couple of days before and a couple of days after, and certainly on those particular days. But the hotels will be, are they near the venue? Are they suitable? Do they have a gym in? Would the audience want a gym? The market want a gym? Would they want something else? Do they want an area that they can train in? Do they want, if you want to find that information out, talk to the events, but talk to the groups that are attending as well, and you can always find that out. You can go onto Facebook, you can go onto Twitter and find the events and see the types of people that are actually attending this event. You can mouse over on Facebook and see them and click on them and see who they are. And you can even choose to actually connect to them at that point. You have so much, and I know I've gone on in webinars, you've got so much great technology available to you free of charge to really research and drill down on your ideal customer or your exact customer that attends this event. So you do things relevantly. When you put your PBA up and create that PBA, which is obviously the next step, you're doing it from a point of relevance because you know the audience that's going to arrive. You're confident with that. You know the hotels that you've chosen are awesome hotels for that event and for those people. And not only are they awesome, find something that just knocks their socks off, find an amazing boutique hotel. Oh my God, you have to stay there. That's the sort of stuff that you should be passionate about presenting to your audiences, no matter whether they're budget through to luxury, because it's the perfect hotel for them. Why is it the perfect hotel? These are things that are going to drive people to them. It's not all about rate. Okay, it's not all about how cheap the room is. Okay, it's about the whole package. It's about the value. What is good value? Where should they be staying? What should they be experiencing? One of the things, if you do some research and look at these websites like hotelmarketing.com, what you'll also do is you'll realize that the market is turning more towards personalization and experience. Okay. Now, the only way they can actually get a more personalized experience at the hotel is by, what do you think? What do you think? What does the guest have to give to make the hotel aware in order for the hotel to personalize an experience for them? Because that's what the hotel wants to do. And we all know how it is. We don't know how it feels. We walk into a hotel room and our name's on the TV. Oh, that's nice. There's a handwritten letter from the GM. Oh, Harrison, welcome. Nice to have you with us. Here's a fruit basket. Personalization. How do we get personalization? It's from data. Okay, it's from information. It's from data. Now, we've all got this big thing like GDPR, data protection that's trying to scare the pants off us. Okay, data, and the reason they're only doing that is because data is so critically important, and those who control the information control the flow, control the booking. So why is data so good, and how do we get hold of it? We talk to our customers. We are right there, more than Booking.com and Expedia and all these other agents. We are right there. We have got the event organizer that we talk to, and they have got the guests that they talk to. We have got the closest possible connection to those guests rather than any online agent has. Okay, because we do groups and events, because we do multiple numbers, we're forced into being at that level. Use that to your advantage. Don't be like, oh God, it's I've got to talk to customers. Not everything's online. Talk to them, find out what they need, and then make sure what they like is transferred across to the hotels. And that's what we do with weddings or whatever. We make sure they're all on the same floor. They've all got a rose in the room. They've all got, a gift or whatever it is. It personalizes the experience. And what does that do? It brings your customers back to you in future. The events want to come back because guess what? The event organizer is also a guest. They're staying in the hotel. They are the one that you should be making sure is really feeling that personalization. You should be calling the hotel going, in room 20 is the organizer. And if you want that organizer back next year, geez, do something outstanding for them right now. Get the manager to go up and knock on the door. These are things that you can do to create such an amazing experience that you're so close to the action, you're so close to the events that you can turn this into something really, really special. And that's why the market has gone full circle. When I first started in 95, when I was building websites for hotels and tourism companies, it was personal because people were still personal. Then websites took off. When we built a booking system in 98, all of a sudden everyone was trying to do everything online. They wanted to do everything online and they didn't want to actually speak to anyone. And then we got through the mid-2000s, late 2000s, people were having awful experiences through Booking.com and Expedia because they were just wanting to do everything online. And they didn't realize that they couldn't believe and trust everything online. And then it started to change. And then the guests became more aware of what they could get. You know, they're not stupid. The booking guests are not silly. They know they have choices out there. 50% of them choose to book through the event organizer's facility, okay, as the research suggests. So how can we use that to our advantage and really personalize that? Selecting the right hotels in the right locations, with the staff and the hotel staff that are on our side that understand what we're trying to do and want to help us do that. I want to give added value and upgrades and a bottle of wine in the room with some meaning. It wins business, but it will do more bookings for you through that event because you have more to talk about. Okay, so you can then go back to the guests. Did you know we've got this awesome hotel and they want to do this for you? I mean, how good is that? If we're not using this, if we're just sticking rates online and just saying, no, go for it, go and book, you know, whatever, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get hit and miss, hit and miss. Do something outstanding. Go, and look, we're global. We can't always go and see the hotels. You could have a Skype conversation with the hotel rather than a telephone call or just sending them an email. Did you know if you get more personal with the hotel sales team, what happens, right? They get more personal with your guests and your event that you're hosting. If they like you and get along with you, they're going to do more for your guests. So get to know them. So this is a relationship business. Get to know your events, get to know your hotels, match them properly, then put them together, and then you can sit back. Once you've done all the hard work up front and you've won that, you've put the mechanism together, okay? Sounds like a lot of work. Okay, it's not a lot of work. Okay, it might be when you first start because you got to learn all this, but you could do this in minutes. You know, you can build a relationship up by talking to someone at the hotel in minutes. You know, it's the old share a joke, be an interesting human being. Don't just be someone who's hungry after their money or after their rates or after, be interesting and friendly and be giving something of value to them if you want to get something back. You want to give them this event, okay? In return, you want something, but you're going to give them the event first. You know, this is how the world works. But if you just want a sterile business, look, to be honest, there's no such thing. Customers are smarter these days. They want something. They want an experience. It's not just the cheapest rate. It's the value that you've got to add value, and that's how you can do it. So hopefully you kind of get where this is all linking together. And I would hope after the 5 weeks preceding this, what I'm saying starts to make even more sense, and you start to see how every piece of this business is actually connected, hopefully intuitively, to affect the other piece. And the next piece is no different. So, when we move on to creating the booking system, okay, you want to create this booking system, the PBA, private booking area. In case for those newbies that are out there, PBA stands for private booking area. This is the private website you can create in seconds and then fill the information in. When I say you can create it in seconds, you actually can create it in seconds. You add a title into a field and you can create it. What takes time is putting effort into that, making sure you've got the right images, making sure you've got the right hotels, making sure you write some interesting description of the hotels which is relevant to the event. So, if it's to do with the BCLA Asia, make sure you put that text actually in the description of the hotel. So when people read about that hotel, I don't know if you can see it, the Carlton Hotel in Singapore, make sure it says the Carlton Hotel welcomes attendees of the BCLA event, and this is really well located to the venue because it's just down the road, and we've already chatted to the concierge and they'll give you directions because they're expecting you, and That's much better than this Carlton hotel has 250 bedrooms and a swimming pool and a restaurant. It means something to someone. Every stage of your business, you need to retrain your brain to go, how do I add value here? How do I make it personal? How do I give someone an experience at this point of their journey, right? Not after the journey, when you may call them up and you go, hey, how was your trip? Did you enjoy that? What other events do you attend? What other conferences do you go to? It should be beforehand. You should be reiterating your experience right through from the very, very start to make sure the event organizer knows how passionate you are about this, and that you have hotels that are passionate about this and giving their event attendees rates. That's the most powerful thing you can actually tell an event organizer, that you have hotels that want to give their attendees better rates and better added value and better rooms and a better experience. Okay, so let's repeat that again, because that's really important to the way your PBA looks. In every city in the world, you have hotels that want to give the event and their attendees incredible value. All right, they want to look after them. That's what their job is to do. They're in the hospitality business. You have hotels that want to do that for their event, right? If you just opened every conversation with an event organizer like that, you would win 99% of the events you call after you've researched and everything else to make sure they're the right events. How can an event organizer refuse that? We are just the mechanism that sits between these fantastic hotels and this amazing event. That's all. We're the mechanism. All right. We are bringing them together. And in return for that, we get paid a commission. All right. Beautiful. But let's make it a great experience for everyone. And guess what? More people will use it because they want to be part of that experience. They want to feel valued. They want to feel like they're getting something. Okay. Now let me reverse that. We're all hotel guests. Put yourself in the shoes of the event organizer, and what experience would they like to give their attendees and their exhibitors? An exhibitor might have just paid them $20,000 to put a stand-up in their show. So as an event organizer, what experience do I want to give that person who's just spent 20 grand with me? I want to give them a great hotel room. Not only not just a hotel room, I want to give them an amazing experience. Okay. I want them to know that I did this for them, because guess what they're going to do? They're going to come back next year and they're going to do business with me again. That's what an event organizer wants. So get to know your ecosystem. The hotels thrive on looking after people. They're caring organizations, or at least the ones you work with should be. So they want to care for that event. They want to care for those guests. So allow them to do that and get them close to that. So that's what you can sell to the hotels. Not that the hotels need a lot of selling, but to even get them to understand what an amazing opportunity the hotels have to access this exclusive audience. Let's make them feel that value as well. Make them feel like they should be providing something to support the event organizer who, wants this event to run for many years. And if the event runs for many years, guess what they're going to do with the hotel? They're going to be using that hotel for many years. So everyone wins out of this. You win out of this. If you just do it with passion and feeling and really, think about what experience you would want in that situation. As far as the guest, well, I think you understand what experience you'd like as a guest in that scenario. And the other thing is, don't stop at anything until you get that experience going, right? That's your job. Your job is not just a functional robot. Your job is to create this atmosphere, okay? And people respond to that. And you will do more bookings than you've ever imagined if you can create that little bit of magic that's easy enough to create, okay, that little bit of personalization, that little bit of experience. And if you don't trust what I'm saying, Google, okay, the future of hotels. There was another article out. I might have sent you all the link, but I'll send another. The future of the hotel. The only way it can go is to be more personalized and give a better experience. That's why, you know, you've got tablets in rooms now where you can open the curtains and you can, you know, watch Netflix, and you can do all these things because it's becoming so personalized around our gadgets and around who we are and things that are relevant to us. A scent in the room, you know, specific types of, you know, slippers. There's all sorts of things hotels do now to actually personalize that. So then you put your PBA together, and your PBA needs to reflect that. Okay, because this is your landing page. So when people click on, so the organizer has gone and got everyone excited. Oh my God, we're working with Hotels TV. They're going to give this great experience. Then they land on this page. What do you want them to find? Okay, you want them to understand that they're going to get an experience. So how do you convey that? You convey that in images. You can convey that in text at the top of the page as well. You need to convey that. You need to be excited. God, if you're not excited, how are you going to get them excited? You need to be excited about the products that you're offering, even the types of rooms within the hotel, the breakfast included. I don't care. Go on about the breakfast. You know, maybe the breakfast is amazing. Whatever it is, it's trigger some emotion, some passion, some interest in that. You will win because people want that experience. They can just get dull, nothing experience through any other platform. You know, so, okay, so that's what we want with creating a PBA. The rest of the actual nitty gritty of that obviously is reviewed within that episode. Okay, the next one is linking to the event website. Okay, the next part of the flow. So, you know, this is really important. Once again, your PBA was your landing page. But what about the hotel's landing page? Sorry, the event's landing page, I should say. So, you know, the event is going to create a page for you usually, okay, or they already have an accommodation page on their website. So have a say in how you want it to look and how you want it to feel and what the message is, because that's actually part of your landing page experience. That's part of your sale. How do I get people from this website and this area through to click there? This is what I was talking about before, about educating. How do you educate that half of the people attending that event to click and have a look? How do you educate them as to what you've done? Okay, one way of doing it could be a video. You could shoot a quick video. You know, 70% of the content out there in the marketplace is now video-based. That's what we're watching. And it's not all professional video. It's videos shot off our phones. It's 15-second Snapchats or Instagram videos. I mean, we live in a very connected world. So have 15 seconds that you also put on Facebook and Twitter, and we're at 15 seconds of just saying, hey, look, we've worked really hard. We've got some amazing hotels. Click this link and have a look at some of these great deals we've got for you. You know, it personalizes it. There's someone there at the end of it, someone who's actually gone and put it together, and that will drive your click rate or click-through rate through the roof. You will get a much greater conversion because you're creating an experience. You know, if you look, go and do some research with Google ads or Facebook ads and see the type of ads that they run that actually get a higher click-through rate than other ads. Static images perform lower than moving image. Okay, videos convert much better than static. I'm not saying to necessarily do it, but you've got those options. This is what I mean by going over and above, and things we'll explore in the future, in future episodes. But what the reason originally we were called Hotels TV was because I was filming a lot more hotels, and the .tv it's kind of video or online television, if you like. that hasn't gone from our psyche. We still do a few videos. We want to integrate this far more regularly now, because technology is kind of caught up from when we first started doing them. You could hardly even play the videos in 2002 because we had ISDN, or we were just getting broadband, so you couldn't even properly play them. Now it's a bit different. So you've got these platforms that you can use quite simply and easily to convey that message. And the reason I started doing the video side was because I needed to somehow have a way that I could share the experience of those hotels that I felt when I walked into those hotels, what I got excited about, what I loved. And in 2 or 3 minutes, by going on video and by being a presenter, it was more about me trying to show the excitement and convey that experience to the people that were sitting at home, and all they were used to seeing was static images. So they never could really understand how special that boutique hotel was, for example, or how big the room was, because on video you could see, because I'm standing in it, they know what size a human being is. You know, unless I'm abnormally tall or abnormally small, I would change the perspective. But as in a normal situation, you kind of get a feel for, you'd almost get a feel for my office where I am now, because you can see a human being in there. Otherwise, you can't really tell. And hotel rooms are like that, but also other areas. So you can convey this message of personalization and emotion and experience by using video. And why not put it here on this particular page, which is actually on the event's own page? Get them to embed a YouTube video of a few minutes of you going, just click, you won't regret it, and that'll help people do it. Or use images, use a nice image of a bedroom, use whatever you've got to convey that, and really try and paint the picture so that you want them to click through and see what you've got, and then you'll start to eat into that other 50%. But working with the event website, the other thing that we talked about, which was really important as well, was making sure that the event is positioning that on the right page. Okay, they're not experts at where to link us. That's our job, to be the experts, to show them where to link us. And you'll learn the right places to do as you go along. But if you clearly can see that the link is in a place where you can't find it yourself, then you can't expect other people to. And through your statistics and analytics, you'll see that you're just not getting the click-through rates. So you've got to make sure that that is in the right place. So these are not difficult things, but there's a little bit of a science behind it, and you just have to use a bit of common sense and a bit of logic. Put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Could you find that link if you went onto the website, you were registering to attend that event? Can you see an accommodation link? Is it of interest to you at that point in time? And how do I make it more interesting to those people about to click register now? And if you win that, then you'll win bookings, because you'll get click-throughs, they'll see the good rates, and everything continues. So once again, you see how the flow links from one thing to the other. Okay. Promoting the event. You also then want the event organizer not just to put the link on there, but to actually send an email campaign to their database, because, okay, there might be 800 people or 1,000 or 2,000 people attending this event, but these people have 10,000 or 20,000 people on their Facebook feeds, on their email database, in their own CRM and things like that. So you're able to expose Hotels TV and your booking system to so many more people. And why not be more proactive and actually put one of the hotel deals on this page, so you're actually promoting the hotel. People can see that it's not just Hotels TV, the booking agent, it's an actual hotel that wants to give me good rates. Oh, I love that hotel, click, and I go through. So once again, using images is far more effective. Have a look at those 3 images, or those 3 images. Yeah, they're images on the page. which one encourages you to click? Okay, so on that page, is it the pre-registration is open? Is it the Battle of Champions, or is it the special hotel rates? I would dare say that people will be more attracted to the image, probably the Battle of Champions. Why? Because it actually looks something like something real, doesn't it? It actually looks like something that if you were attending that event, you'd be interested in. The first one's just a stock standard image. But I would hazard a guess, and I don't have the statistics on this because this is the email shot of the event. I would guess that the link most clicked is the get info or the actual image of the Battle of Champions. So when you put your rates up, why not have a hotel room and a beautiful bed of one of the hotels that they could stay at? It's little things like that that help convert more and help push more people into your portal. Sometimes you don't always get the cooperation of the organizer as best as you like it. So it's quite important to do that in the pre-planning stage or the contracting stage when you get the event and you agree, sign an agreement together. Quite often it's quite a good time then to have an idea of what you want and how much promotion you want and actually write it into that agreement so everything's very upfront. It's not that they won't do it. It's quite often just that they're so busy that it becomes quite difficult for them to think these things, you know, and then you keep hitting them with it and you feel like you're bugging them, which we don't want you to feel like you're bugging them. But you have to bug them at that point because it's the only way you're going to get more publicity. So one of the things that we've done with a number of events now is actually say to the organizers, look, I don't want to keep bugging you, but it's really important we get this message out. So either, you know, you're just going to do it or you're going to, maybe you can give me your database and we'll sign a non-disclosure agreement and I'll protect that database, but it means that every time I add a new hotel on, I can just email everyone on the database and let them know, and we can agree I can't do that more than twice a week, or, you know, I don't want to ruin the database and I don't want to abuse it, but I don't want to have to bug you to then go out and send this stuff out. If a hotel comes back to me this afternoon with an amazing rate that I can promote to your market for the next 24, 48, 72 hours, it might be 24 hours before you even put it on your website or even send it through. And I don't want to have to keep bugging you. So can we just get the database and we'll just email? And can you link us into your Facebook page as an administrator so that we can just post that message on Facebook to your 20,000 people as well? More people will be satisfied because they'll get decent rooms, decent hotels, and less will miss the boat and then panic and have to try and find something last minute, when had we got the message across succinctly and quite simply, they could have done that a little bit sooner. So these things you start to understand and work on the more events you work with. So hopefully you find that helpful, that you need to manage the process with the event organizer. And once again, these things are not difficult. When you do them properly and you set it up properly at the start, when you do your contracting, you know how much promotion that you'd like to get. Everyone's agreed. You've then delivered them the artwork and said, look, here's some logos. Here's something I've made up. Just send this out to people. And it becomes pretty easy to do. And every time you do that, you should be getting a hit of bookings. You should be getting a wave of bookings come through, which should motivate you to keep sending that out or keep coming up with another deal, you know. And the more active you are around the events, the more bookings you do. If you want to be reactive, then you'll just get whatever you get. You want to be proactive, you could even double, triple the amount of bookings you would have got had you been reactive. Okay, then analyze the hell out of these things. You know, the statistics, once again, we live in an age, a digital age, where everything is monitored and accounted for, and this stuff is free. Okay, so everything for your business that you've got access to that helps you make money is free. Okay, now we'll link you up to this It's very easy to do. We can do that in our one-to-one sessions, but what it means is that you've got a campaign, you've set up the event, you've got the hotels, you've set up the PBA, you've linked the PBA now to the event, you're promoting the PBA to the event organizers. How many people are clicking? How many people are coming through? How do you know? You got to monitor it. How do you know you got the right hotels on? Yes, you might be getting some bookings, but are people going to the 5-star hotel and backing out and then going to a 3-star hotel? So maybe you should have more 3-star hotels on and get rid of the 5-star hotel. Maybe you should have more 5-star hotels on and you'd actually do more bookings. These things you don't know unless you kind of have a look at the statistics. Once again, this is another thing that once you know where this stuff is, it's very simple to do. The last part of this presentation, we're going to skip through a little bit. I'm going to show you some live stats so you can actually start to understand how you measure things and see things and what's a good result, what's not a good result. And we'll go through this in future webinars as well as you get more experienced. And, we'll go through some of the Q&As that we tend to get as the support team behind what you're doing. But it's really important you see what pages are getting more clicks than others. It's pretty elementary. Once again, any form of advertising that you would do in any capacity would need to be monitored to see if it works. Is it worth doing? So you then start to learn pretty quickly where you should spend your time and what's a waste of time, because it's not about spending lots of time. I'm not trying to make you work 80 hours a week. I'm trying to make you work 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week and just do it efficiently and make sure you've hit everything on the head, all the nails on the head, so that the passion's there, the experience is there, the event's there, the hotels are there, and the whole thing just kind of works. But, like anything, you've got to monitor it and analyze it. Managing bookings. Then you go into the managing booking process, which was the most recent episode that we went through. Once the bookings start to flow through, then there's lots of different ways that you can manage that booking. A lot of it's automated, and you can set that up at the start by planning ahead and going, okay, well, when I set my events up, here are the hotels. I know the hotels have got the availability, so I can load that on. I've got other hotels I need. We're doing this in advance. We've got our rates all structured. The bookings come in. I know I'm only going to offer hotels that have an allocation of availability. You can change or add more availability if you need to, or if you want to get a bit more complicated into it and you want to offer really unique rooms and penthouses and places like that, then you might want to put rooms on request. If you're going to try and book right down till the last minute, then you might want to work on request as well, because at least the bookings will come in and then you can check availability with the hotels. So all these things, you can squeeze the end of your booking process to get another 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 bookings, which just keeps making you money. But you can also choose not to. So you can choose to just set it up. This is the simple route. This is fine. It's good enough for me. Then you can just stop, and you don't have to squeeze the life out of the bookings. But if you want to make more money out of an event, there are always ways right up to the actual night or even during the event. You don't just stop just before the event starts. People sometimes just turn up in the middle of the event or at the end of the event. Could be a company sending more employees to man a stand, so they still need more rooms. So you can get rooms right until the actual end of the event as well. And so we went through ways that we can process. Now there's 2 ways. One is through the website. The other way is going in to this end, and I haven't drawn anything this week. Is to go through the customers area and add the customer. Then you can do it from within the system. Why would you do it from within the system? If someone books a group or an event and they haven't come through the front end of the booking system, you can create a customer profile and you can add a booking to that profile, and then you can send a confirmation out from within the system, and you can send the booking to the hotel from within the system. So it either happens through your PBA or through your public booking website, it comes in that way, or you can go in the back end through your administration area. Okay, so most of you should have your access into the administration area to do that too. Okay, so then everything automatically goes into the invoicing. So this is the area that we take care of. We do all the invoicing for you. So if you have a look at that, it actually shows automatically the bookings that have gone into the system. They go into an invoice page, and we get you to check that before we invoice, just to make sure that you've updated everything in the system. We want to make sure you've got it all set up. And that's it. Then the hotels pay us and we pay you. And then what you do is you just repeat that process over and over again. Now you get so good at it, you can have simultaneous events running. So don't just have one event a month and don't think that's it, that's all I can do. One event a week. You could have 10 or 20 events a month running. You know, okay, it might be busy and it might seem so far out of reach for you at this particular point in your training, but you can do that. Maybe you have staff, maybe you have people that come and help you, but this is the scalability of the business that it allows you to create another PBA. Every PBA that you launch is another earning opportunity. If you're dealing with the same hotels, it's even easier. Just put some more rate sets on. If you've summed up and you've got the cooperation of the event organizer, then it becomes easy. You set it up, get the event, get the hotels, create the PBA, link to the event website, do your promotion, analyze and adjust, manage the bookings, and it goes into the invoice and you get paid. And the more regularly you do that, the more regularly you get paid. Okay. Now I'm going to switch for a few moments and take you onto the internet. So hopefully you all stay there. And I'm just going to run through a few examples of some of the events that we have in our system currently. So you can see this is real. It's really happening, you know, and I think working through those examples, hopefully a few of these things might surprise you as well. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay. I've got to be a little bit careful with some of the data that you may see. Okay, that should do it, because as this is our live booking system, there is customer information in there, and because we're recording this as well, and because these events belong to some of the agents, and I don't want to release too many kind of personal details, but what I want to do is just give you an idea of what I've picked some events out of our current events. Let's put it that way, that I wanted to show you. So hopefully you can all see that. Now, this is the administration area that you should all be quite familiar with, or if you're brand new, that you will become familiar with, and you can search all your bookings this way. Now, have a look at some of the bookings that are here. We're working on an event now in London called the SEP Scale Up event, which is to do with the stock market in London, and they're staying at Club Quarters Hotel. Now, what I wanted to show you is a Google search. If you type in MTB Scale Up Summit London, guess who comes up? We do. So that's not even searching hotels. It's actually searching this event. Now that is testament to the fact that we are connected to the authoritative website, which is the event organizer. Okay, we've even come up above the event organizer in this particular situation. So when you click those links, you would come straight through to a PBA. okay, which is all set up to take those bookings. And we've only got 2 hotels on there. We haven't even got 5 hotels. We've actually got 2 hotels. That's all the agent was interested in booking for this event. That was close to the venue, which is the London Stock Exchange. Okay, and if we go back, if I can go back, there we go. So far, this is actually for June as well, so it's not even. It's over a month away. So we've got a few bookings coming in there, and as you see, £157 per night. They're all staying for one night at the moment, so that's building quite nicely, as you can see. We've got a martial arts tournament in Wolverhampton. Okay, once again, if you go onto Google and you just type in Kwon British Open, you come up with the events own details, and they've actually linked that page to us. And we are, there we are. So Hotels TV is on that front page as well. Plus, when you actually go on to the Event Zone website, which you'll see here, there is a hotel booking link down the bottom. Which takes you straight into one of our PBAs. And if you look at some of their events individually, such as the British Open actually just happened last weekend, so these are the coming events. When you click on that, you go through to an event page. This is on the event organizer's own website. Okay, and down the bottom here is hotel booking. So when you click that, it takes you through to a PBA as well. And you see on the PBA are certain hotels that have been promoted more than others. And that's highlighting the fact that we have some specials that are there also. Okay, now another one is a wedding that we're doing at the moment. And weddings can be very, very good. So let's search by wedding. It's coming. Okay, so this is a wedding that we're doing. This is arriving the 26th of May. Okay, so it's all £90 a night, 142 a night. So there's currently 14 single night bookings pretty much for that particular wedding. They were expecting, and they are still expecting, and we've got the rooms, probably about there's probably about 40 or 50 hotel bookings. So roughly kind of 3 times, 4 times what's there for that particular one wedding. Okay. And once again, even if someone was actually looking to Google the wedding or find out some more information about the wedding, Hotels TV's pages are so sensitive to the top end of the search engines that they tend to come up there. Now, we're also the official booking agent for a number of different events through a particular event company we work with. One of our agents has gone and contracted this. We've got the hotel show in Africa, Africa's Big Seven, SATEX. These are all different events. So if we view some of these pages and we actually find our way to the actual event, you can actually see from this event that they have over 144 exhibitors for this event. People from 26 different countries and 2,720 attendees. And if you can see here on the website, which actually needs I think more effective publicity, but you kind of see that. I can't quite get it on the screen. But you see Hotels TV there, so you can click through and you'll go straight to us. But there should be, it's an interesting one, there should be a link directly. There we go. Click here to book. So that link should be the same link as this, which goes straight to the, we don't want them necessarily going to the front page of the Hotels TV website. So that's an interesting example for you. What we want is we want them to be going straight to the PBA. And that's this area here and this selection of hotels. Because of the numbers that have been expected, the agent has decided to work with 8 hotels for this event. Okay, and these are the closest hotels to the event. Okay. All right. Now, one we've been working on in Australia as well, which has been an interesting one. This is the International Sport Karate Association. And let me bring this up for you because this is quite an interesting one to give you a model of, because this event has a lot of people attending it, but it doesn't actually have a very good website at all. As you can see, you know, they have various events, actually have events probably every 2 to 4 weeks. They have about 23 events around the country. Not all of them need, some of them always need accommodation, but there are particular bigger events which are more national that do need accommodation. So you can see the events that are there as well. And so it becomes our job to really work with the event organizer. And shortly there will be a link in this section here on this page, all around here, which promotes the accommodation aspect of what we're doing for this particular event, which is a major event in Sydney for this sport. Okay, so that's something. So there's an event with roughly about 20 plus events that started with one event and then it just expanded into a number of other events that they were interested to work with us on. Okay, so I just wanted to show you just a few of the different sort of choice events that our newer agents have started working with, to give you also an idea of the spread of events that they're actually working on as well, all over the world. So it gives you a little bit more of an idea of maybe also what to look at and what we could do better and what has worked. And weddings are also very good. I can't get rid of this. How do I get rid of it? There we go. And this is an interesting example of working with a larger event organizer that has, I think, 70 or 80 events around the world. And this is something that took a little while to get to contract. Started with a few events and is now starting to expand the number of events that they're providing the Hotels TV agent. And they're all over the world. So that's a great potential growth connection generated by one of our agents. Okay, let me come back to you. Okay. So hopefully we're back and you can see me again. All right. So once again, if we're nearly at the end of this, I've got a few more things I want to cover with you. But really, if you do have any questions, please keep them coming. Please enter them into the chat box as well. So hopefully, it gave you a little bit of an insight into some of the events that we're working on at the moment. And they're really varied, and the agent's focus is really varied depending on what interests them. Sometimes it's down to what events we've provided them or we've had access to when we first started with them as well. So that can dictate it too. And then once you get a really good understanding, as I said, of the flow and the ecosystem, which I'll briefly run through again here, it really gives you more power and knowledge to be able to go in and really fine-tune your business in a direction that you want it to be in, which is the reason that most of you are here. So in the ecosystem, as I said before, it's really important for you to understand that all these parts work together. So, you know, the events and the type of events really give us an idea of what type of guests we're going to be working with, what type of booking rate potentially, because you can look at historical facts with the event organizers. That then dictates the type of hotels that we're also going to be working with. And you are a factor in that, your contacts, your ability to create these, your ability to liaise with these people. You're a big part of this ecosystem. And us supporting you in this, we're a part of the ecosystem. So we all want something. We all need something out of this exchange. So it's really important that it's balanced and it works for everyone in order for this to work succinctly and effectively and positively. So, you know, the events want something, and it's important that you understand what an event wants. And we covered it briefly. You know, they want to be seen as providing added value for people that are paying them money to exhibit at their event, or people that are paying for a ticket to attend the event, or keynote speakers or guest speakers, or, you know, the wedding guests. The wedding couple are so thankful for people traveling to their wedding. They want to provide some value, almost like a gift to the people that are attending as a thank you, by negotiating the rates and providing them really good accommodation and having done the work for them. That's what they want. This is what I mean by events, and this is what motivates them. Some of them want to make money, but to be honest, not many that we work with are actually that interested in the money. They realize that booking the accommodation is important, and it's difficult, and it's time consuming. So they're actually very thankful that they have the help and they have the technology. And that's two things that you really have to sell to these people on the fact that you can just provide it all, but in return for your time and in return for your effort, you must have exclusivity over their event, because the only way you get paid is by converting their attendees into bookings. And so you need the leverage, you need to be able to have the freedom to a degree of being able to earn your rightful revenue and income for providing that service by them giving you exclusivity and them helping you promote your event. So that's the motivation there. The guests are motivated by having a good rate. Yeah, we all know they want to pay the least, but it's not always about price. It could be that they want to be together. If it's a wedding or it's a sports tournament, they don't want to be at a different hotel. They might not even want to be on a different floor. They might want to be in the same part of the building. They might want to have breakfast and dinner together. They might want to, have cocktails together, or it's someone's birthday, or, these are, once again, the personalization of this business. This is where we've got it in buckets and spades over anyone else out there in the marketplace. That's what the guests want. That's what they want to feel. They want to feel important. They want to feel valued. If they're attending an event with 5,000 people attending and they just go to booking.com, they won't be recognized. They won't be valued. They won't get a rate negotiated for that event. We can change that. And that's what we have to educate them about. The hotels get and want not only bookings, yes, they want bookings, but they actually want a quality customer. They want a guest who spends money in the hotel on room service and restaurant and bar and concierge services and things like that. That's a valuable guest to a hotel, not just one that pays the cheapest rate in the marketplace. That's a good way to send a hotel broke. So this is why we match the events, the guests, and the hotels together, because if the guests are more likely, like a corporate event, to want to have a restaurant and a bar, then that's great for those hotels, because we know not only are the guests going to get a good rate, but they're going to spend money in their hotel. So the hotel is going to get it back by people enjoying their services. It's not about ripping them off either. They're enjoying the facilities within the hotel like we all do. We all want to go to a hotel where there's a spa or a restaurant or something that's good for us to attend, because we enjoy it and we're happy to spend money on that as we enjoy it. If we get a fair room price, we'll spend money in the hotel. You, as I said before, what you get out of it is the financial return for putting all this together to be able to run your business. Excuse me. And also the satisfaction that you're working in a cohesive ecosystem where you're helping people get something they couldn't normally get on their own. You're helping event organizers do something they wouldn't normally do on their own, yet they value it as an important part of their event. Okay, so that's where you come in. And where we come in, now, not only, yes, by having lots of agents out there and doing lots of bookings, there's a financial benefit, of course. Okay, we're a business. But what we're trying to do is build the largest and the best booking agency in the world by having motivated, invested people such as yourselves being our agents, doing this for us, connecting these great hotels and finding these great hotels and connecting them to these amazing events to get in front of the guests that can best enjoy those hotels. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's how we see the ecosystem working. That way everyone wins. There's not one person that's benefiting necessarily more than another person in this ecosystem. We want this harmoniously to grow, because this is actually, in my 20 plus years of being in this industry, this is actually what I've learned all parties want. This is what they all want. This is why we have terms of business where the guest pays at the hotel. The guest wants to pay at the hotel. They don't want to pay in advance. Otherwise, we would just take the money. If it was a money thing, yeah, we're better off getting the money up front. But that's not what the guest wants, and it's not necessarily good for the hotel either. The hotel, if anyone wants the money first, it's the hotel. They've got the biggest overheads, you know. So this is cohesive to everyone involved in this ecosystem. And in my opinion, in my experience, it is the right way to do it. And we've proven this time and time again. By being personal, by selecting hotels, by negotiating at the time, you get better value. By negotiating as a group and using a booking system where individuals can book through that website as individuals, but they get the benefit of being part of that group. That is good for business. And so everyone wins. And so if you understand the ecosystem, I think you'll have a much better opportunity to explain what we do to the events and to the guests and to hotels, where they buy into that experience also. All right. Yeah, just to answer a question that's come in at the moment, someone's currently working on a PBA, and they've seen that more hotels have their own apps offering clients all types of discounts. Is this something we should also promote, or would this make them think of booking directly with the hotel? Yeah, look, it's a good question. We want to support the hotel, so we are trying to market and promote the hotel to the event and attendees. So any promotion that the hotels have is good for us, because we're making sure that the guests understand that we are dealing directly with the hotel. We're putting them in contact directly with the hotel as well. So that really becomes quite an important part of the whole system, is to be able to actually do that. There are different ways that you can actually do that. One of those ways would be to actually add them to the articles and guides area of the PBA. That could be very good. So if you add them to the articles and guides area, you could actually detail some of the discounts or the benefits that they actually get by being a part of the experience. So would you link them directly to the app where they can make a booking? No. We are, as you know, we are developing an app. And on that app, we want to be able to give them access to these types of things ourselves. So what it may be, the ideal solution may be that when you negotiate the rates with the hotels, they also let you know what benefits that they're able to offer as added value, and then detail that also on the PBA under the articles and guides. Or even after the booking's been made, you have the email address of the guests. You could follow that up and then deliver the app to them. Okay, so think about that. What we're interested in is the booking process and completing the experience as part of that event, because that's where they're going to get the better rooms, the better rates. It's where they're going to be recognized by the hotel. Once we've done the booking, the guest is recognized as ours or yours, even once they've arrived at the hotel. So there's no harm in delivering that app potentially after the booking's been made. And you can even promote that to say that, look, you book with this hotel, you're going to get a discount voucher on an app delivered by the hotel. So book first and app second. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. But, we're all for the guests getting as close to the hotel as possible. As long as they come through us and they use our technology. Remember, our technology is linking the hotel and the event together, and we get paid as a result of that. But we're not trying to do what Booking.com does and limit the information being given across to the hotel, because we feel the information is important to the personalization of the stay and to the success of the event. So if we can do that more effectively, then that's a great thing to do. But yeah, we just want to do it so we protect ourselves at the same time, and we're not just sending people straight to the hotel to make their booking, because it just won't be recognized that it comes from us. And, that's what you want to preserve. Okay, so just to recap the spreadsheet as all, also, what I want to just make sure is that this keeps filling. So this is the spreadsheet you do for your events. You start adding the events and the organizers and the contacts at the events. You can also make these spreadsheets for the hotels so that you start to collate the sales department of the hotels. Keep that going. This is if you stop and then you work on an event, you're stopping your sales funnel. Okay, I think it's really important that even when you get an event, you still allocate some time to keeping this spreadsheet building and keeping your contact going with the event organizers and the sales departments. And in the next couple of episodes, you're also going to be learning more about using a CRM, so we can take all this content, all this data, and import it into a CRM and have our marketing done automatically for us. So the process is automated. So that means once you've actually added a new event organizer in, you can actually do, in third-party technology, drag a tag and drop it onto that client that's now in your CRM, in your database, and it automates an email campaign directly to encourage the event organizers to come and do business with you in the future. Now, the sooner you do that in the process, the better long term, because sometimes those event organizers are not ready anyway to do business with you now. So the more you can kind of warm them up and they get used to hearing from you and seeing it, this is exactly the same way that you all came about joining Hotels TV. You didn't do it overnight. You inquired, you received an email campaign. I sent out a little bit more information. We had a conversation. We sent out some more information. And when the time was right for you, you made the decision to join. Well, these event organizers are no different. Sometimes they're in a position where they want to move quickly, and that's great. Sometimes their event's not ready yet. They're interested in the opportunity, and they'll talk to you later when everything starts moving. But if you stop communicating with them, you will go out of their mind. So you want to stay in front of them, and email campaigns are a fantastic way to do that. And we can show you a very, very good way to stay in front of them with some interesting information that doesn't take you long to do. And you can also automate the process so that the first one goes out in 3 days, the next one goes out in 2 weeks, the next one goes out a month after that. And the message is consistent through the whole process. And as soon as they come in and start working with you, the email campaigns stop, or they might continue with a different message. So it's very clever stuff. But this is all where it starts. So keep your spreadsheets building with ideal events that you've researched and you're interested to talk to. You don't have to have actually talked to them at this point, but if you can, obviously, all the better. But also make sure that you're getting direct contacts with the organizers, not just info at and general email addresses, because if we did a campaign to those, they'd end up in spam and junk folders as quickly as you send them. But also start to collate your hotels on another tab, because the hotel sales departments are also important, because you want those contacts, which cut down time in the future. It means that rather than having to do all that research at the time, in seconds you can send an email to the person who's the contact at the hotel, and they'll get back to you, the answer to your RFP, your request for proposal. They'll get back to you really, really quickly on that. So works really well. Okay, so look, that brings us to the end of this week's webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's given you a really good refresher on where we're up to now and how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together and how the ecosystem fits together, and really to create that foundation that you can start to build on and start to do other things, as we started to suggest, like some of the things in this webinar we hadn't talked really about before, such as how you can add video into the mix, which becomes really effective. And what I'm trying to do at this point is starting you thinking, how else can I generate more business? How can I get my message out to more people? How can I educate my market? How can I be more passionate? How can I personalize this experience for the guest, which gives me something very unique no one else has? So when they compare my hotels and this personalized experience to anything out there on the market, there is no competition. Not only are we better on rates, but we're better on experience, and we're connected to the event. And as we've learned, 50% of the people booking hotels will use the event organizer. 50% may not, but that means you've got 50% more you can pick up. The fact remains from the research that's been done is that 50% that didn't book through the event organizer have paid more. And I also guarantee you that they're likely to have had a lesser personalized experience, as well as paying more for the privilege of not receiving that. So it doesn't really make sense if the organizer has a solution to get them a much better experience that runs very consistently with the event. It makes a lot of sense. So hopefully you'll agree with that. So thank you for your participation. Next week, our next episode is actually on business development. Okay, so we're going to go more into how we take your businesses to the next level, how we find more events, and how we do things a lot more effectively. And then the next one moves into using CRMs and automate your marketing, using technology to help you do that. And there's lots of different ways. That should be a fun one. And then the last one, we go into the graduation process and discuss what the next stages of training and topics are actually going to be. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Bye for now.